shot in 4K ultra high definition. Your number one source for local news. WRAL News. Coverage you can count on.
Now at 6, severe flooding after a day of flooding and heavy rain. The damage remains. The hardest hit areas and how it could impact your morning.
And we're still seeing some rain out there, but what we're seeing on the radar right now is fairly light and patchy. I'll show you what you'll run into as you head out the door.
It was deep. It was over my head, and I never got to her. Once she went under, I never saw her again.
So sad. Plus, swept away. What we are learning about the two people who were swept away in those floodwaters yesterday. Just a terrible way to be reminded how dangerous it can be.
Absolutely. And more rain is in the forecast, although it will not be as intense as we saw yesterday. We'll have more on that coming up. Good morning. Thanks for joining us. I'm Michelle McConaughey.
And I'm Jeff Hogan. Thanks for making us part of your routine. The chance for flooding is certainly a possibility today. We have live team coverage from across our area. We begin with meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner.
And we'll kick back over here to Dual Doppler 5000 radar. You can see we're seeing some rain all the way from Edgecombe County and Halifax County back over toward the Triad. As a matter of fact, in parts of the Triad, we did have a flood warning earlier today. But what we're seeing now is more dry air starting to pull in. Notice Johnston County seeing a little light rain. Nothing much happening here in Harnett County. And we're starting to see a bit of a break in the precipitation here in Wake County. What's falling is fairly light. Now, it is a little steadier here in Durham County and then back over toward Hillsborough. But that drier air looks like it's starting to pull in. And I think what you'll end up seeing this morning is fairly light and patchy. And that's definitely what we're seeing here on Futurecast. We don't have big waves of rain that are coming our way. So yes, you'll run into some wet conditions on your commute this morning, but you shouldn't run into anything heavy. There is a low risk for flooding in our forecast for today. Just to cover the bases, it certainly shouldn't feel like what we saw yesterday with all that heavy rain, anywhere from 5 to 7. We even found some totals there in Cary at 8 inches, and we'll take a closer look at that. But again, low end threat for flooding for today. The rain's really tapered off pretty nicely here in downtown Raleigh. It is 67 degrees today, does stay cloudy all day and cool in the upper 70s. But a more summer pattern is headed back into our forecast. I'll show you what, Ken.
What's happening now in the WRAL Traffic Center? We're seeing those wet conditions out there. There's a live look at I-40 and Wade Avenue. Traffic beginning to pick up just a bit. Those are the westbound lanes. We also have photographer Charles Bradley out on the roads this morning. He's been driving around the Triangle and surrounding communities, just keeping an eye on things going. Right now, his windshield wipers are going, as you can see right there, taking it slowly right now. We are seeing a little bit of ponding on the road, a little bit of spray firing up from those wheels. So definitely give yourself some extra time as you're heading out this morning, just to be on the safe side. Back here in the WRAL Traffic Center, in terms of major routes coming into the capital city, very little to no delays. We just have first responders working a crash on Gorman Street in the northbound lane, not far from Tryon Road. It's a minor crash, not going to affect you whatsoever. And similarly, we're not seeing any delays on any of those major routes into the Bull City. You're getting ready to head into the car, though. Tune us in on the radio, 101.5 HD3.
Apex is one of those places cleaning up after it was hit hard by rain and flooding. Many roads were filled with water during the storm, and at least one may be closed for months. Monica Casey has been driving around in the WRAL Storm Tracker this morning. Monica, I know you've gotten out of it. Get a firsthand look at that area where that road is closed.
Yeah, Jeff, and it is still raining here this morning. This is an area that certainly does not need it today. Take a look here behind me at Olive Chapel Road. As you can see, it's completely closed right now. Now, I know it's still kind of dark this morning, so I want to take you to some video from yesterday where you can see just a little better what the damage is like here. A creek runs under this road, and it flooded to the point where a sinkhole opened under the road and just ruined it. Neighbors here tell us this is going to be a frustrating closure that's going to go on for months.
I live right there, and our subdivision is going to be the go-through. So, yeah, I don't think it's going to be. This is a very high-traffic area. You've got Olive Chapel, obviously, up here, all 55 and all the main streets down there. It kind of connects to. We ride our scooters through here all the time. It's a very high-traffic area. This is not good.
Now, he mentioned this road is a major connector. Obviously, the road itself closed, but he also talked about riding scooters. You're not going to be able to do that here either. As you can see, the sidewalk is closed as well. This area is just completely impassable, and NCDOT tells us this could be in place until November. Live in Wake County, Monica Casey, WRAL News.
Chris Lovingood here in the WRAL Live Center. We're tracking the outages right now from the Duke outage energy map here, and it looks like there's a little more than 1,000 people without power, but that's for the area that this map is kind of looking at as a whole. Here locally, we're talking about several hundred, in fact. Most of them appear to be in Pittsboro. I actually just saw this one pop up in Sanford down there, so we're kind of trying to see when these situations will improve. Trees down, that seems to be the cause of these outages. So as soon as we learn more about when the outages will be restored to the people who need their electricity, we'll report it here in the WRAL Live Center.
2 people are dead after getting swept up by floodwaters in Nash County. It happened yesterday afternoon in Spring Hope on Highway 581. According to deputies, 55-year-old Pete Evans and 24-year-old Lottie Alston were in a van when they were swept off the road into a ravine. The two spent their last moments clinging to their vehicle. Lieutenant Jason Leary said he did everything he could to save them.
She had an arm out of the water. I tried to grab her. And then when she submerged, I went under as well, trying to reach for her. But there was so much debris, so much fallen trees, bushes, things floating. There was a tree that was completely underwater, horizontal, that you couldn't see, that I got tied up in and got over it. Honestly, I wasn't thinking about anything, just trying to make a difference.
The Nash County Sheriff's Office say the 2 lives lost are a somber reminder of how powerful these floodwaters can be. Deputies say if you see water on the road and you cannot see the yellow line, turn around. And this animation behind me shows what can happen if you do try to drive through a flooded road. Once your tires lose contact with the road, all bets are off and you have no control. That only takes a few inches, so be aware of how much water is on the roads.
Carolina Mudcats shared this video. That's their dugout. You can backstroke through that thing. This is flooded out during Wednesday's heavy rain. This is at 5 County Stadium in Zebulon. The Mudcats game against the Lynchburg Hillcats, not surprisingly, was postponed due to those weather conditions. Take a look at this car. Went into a creek along Wade Avenue in Raleigh. This was right near the intersection with Fillmore Street. It was one of many crashes that we spotted during this storm. Keep up with the weather 24/7 with the newly redesigned WRAL weather app. The interactive radar lets you look at what's in store for your location.
Tonight, family and friends of the 10-year-old who died in a boat crash on Harris Lake will gather to say goodbye. A visitation for Brooklyn Carroll will happen from 6 to 8 p.m. at Apex Funeral Home. Carroll died Saturday when a boat driven by a suspected drunk boater hit her. The community has shown an outpouring of support after her death. A GoFundMe for her family has raised $64,000. Brooklyn's funeral is planned for tomorrow.
Today, the State Board of Education will vote on a plan Superintendent Mo Green says will make the state's schools the best in the nation. It's a 37-page document that calls for improving curriculum, teacher training, student services like health care. Green also wants to establish foundations and endowments to provide services and even free college classes.
Members of the NC State's 1983 Cardiac Pack team will not be able to collect money from the NCAA over the continued use of their highlights. A North Carolina judge dismissed their lawsuit on Wednesday. That's according to a lawyer for the players. 10 members of the team argued that the NCAA should not be able to use their name, images, and likeness to promote the tournament without paying them. Several similar suits have been tossed out by judges. The NCAA in 2021 allowed players to profit off their name, image, and likeness, but that was way too late for the 1983 team.
It is iconic video, you got to admit. A new stopgap budget for the state is now law. Governor Josh Stein signed the spending plan Wednesday while voicing his reservations. In a statement, he said, quote, "This Band-Aid budget fails to invest in our teachers and students, fails to keep families safe, fails to value hardworking state employees, and fails to fully fund health care." He called on lawmakers to pass a full budget soon, saying, quote, "The General Assembly needs to get serious about investing in the people who make this state great." That was his statement. That budget could mean cuts to Medicaid and other safety net services. Stein said he signed the bill because it keeps the state's lights on and includes important funding for schools. But Republican budget writers also cut the Medicaid operating budget by 25%. A spokeswoman for House Speaker Destin Hall said state lawmakers will revisit this issue later in the year.
A new health program would allow state employees to get surgeries at no cost. That's according to leaders of the state health plan. 770,000 people are on the state health plan. Leaders say surgeons who agreed to lower rates for state workers will get a steady stream of patients. The new program starts in October. You can read more in the NC Capital section of WRAL.com. And an Eastern North Carolina hospital that closed back in 2023 could soon open its doors again. Martin General Hospital could become the state's first rural emergency hospital. ECU Health and Martin County leaders confirmed to WRAL that they have filed a letter of intent to potentially reopen it. ECU Health outlined several things that need to happen for the deal to move forward. County leaders say they are open to them.
The fire and EMS strain that has been dealt with for the past 2 years, having somebody like ECU Health come and open the hospital back up as an REH will be a welcome event for fire and EMS, as well as the public.
Martin General Hospital sits near US 64. That's a route thousands of families take to get to the Outer Banks every summer. Well, WRAL has been tracking the Martin County Hospital's trouble since it closed its ICU back in 2022. You can find that reporting linked to this story on WRAL.com. Coming up 1 month later and no change. More than 24 roads are still damaged across North Carolina because of Chantal. How long people in Person County will have to wait until they see relief.
Plus, fired North Carolina Courage terminates their head coach in the middle of the season, when we could expect a response from the team.
And heading out the door, there is some rain still lingering from yesterday. I'll show you where you'll run into it and what our chances are for flooding again today.
As you get into your car, tune to WRAL News Plus on your radio in Raleigh on 99.3 FM, in Durham 96.5 FM, and everywhere on 101.5 HD3.
6:14, heading out the door to more rain. This time it's fairly light and patchy. There are some spots where that rain's coming down fairly steadily, but we have some drier air down to the south. You can see around Fayetteville, through parts of Harnett County, we're not seeing rain falling, and we're starting to see some of that drier air work its way into Wake County. Now up around Wake Forest, back over toward Durham, and really as you head past Durham down I-40, I-85, you may run into some rain that's a little bit heavier, but things are pretty patchy out there for us right now. Our hour-by-hour rain chances will jump back and forth between, say, 30 and 40%. But the totals that we end up seeing today should be around 1/4 of an inch or so on average. Here's a live look at Apex right now. Yes, it is damp out. You're going to run into some wet conditions out there. But again, I wouldn't expect anything that's terribly heavy. We'll see clouds all day today. Temperatures will only be in the mid to upper 70s, so cool again. But our weather pattern's about to change to more summer-like. I'll show you when it gets hotter with a better chance for storms. Ken?
All right, Elizabeth, happening now in the WRAL Traffic Center. We're going to take you right outside with the help of photographer Charles Bradley on many of our major routes. He's been driving around I-40, I-540 this morning, and right now you can see the windshield wipers are going, a little bit of ponding on the road. You see the spray coming up from those tires. So definitely, I would recommend leaving the house a little sooner than usual this morning. As far as major routes into the capital city, very little to no delays. Just a minor crash here on Gorman Street right near Tryon Road. Also, over in Durham, all those major routes are delay-free, including I-885 this morning. I know a lot of you take I-885 in and out of Durham. That's delay-free as well, as you can see right here. Just 1 minute in either direction. You're getting ready to head into the car. Tune us in on the radio, 101.5 HD3.
Starting today, federal law enforcement will be stepping up security in the nation's capital. According to sources, the planned increase is scheduled for today and tomorrow. It'll include officers from ICE, the FBI, National Guard, and local DHS agents. Local federal agents in the Washington, D.C. area have been told to stay ready to be deployed. A White House official said the move is part of President Donald Trump's executive order to address crime in the city. The man accused of killing 2 Israeli embassy staffers in Washington, D.C. is facing federal hate crime charges. Elias Rodriguez is charged with 9 counts, including a hate crime resulting in death. The indictment also includes a notice of special findings that would allow the Justice Department to pursue the death penalty. Rodriguez is accused of shooting the staffers as they left an event at the Capitol Jewish Museum in May. He's also charged with murder of foreign officials and other crimes.
The VA has stripped several government unions of their most important power, collective bargaining. The Department of Veteran Affairs notified 5 major unions their contracts were terminated yesterday. It's in response to an executive order President Donald Trump signed back in March. That measure used national security as the justification to cut the collective bargaining rights of many federal workers.
As Republicans push to redistrict congressional maps in Texas, Democrats are planning to do the same in California. California Representative Zoe Lofgren says she's seen a conceptual map. She claims it could flip 5 of the 9 Republican seats in her state. Governor Gavin Newsom asked lawmakers to draw a new map to put in front of voters in a November special election. He has said it would only happen if Texas goes through with its redistricting. People in Person County are facing months of construction and delays after flooding from Chantal. The storm last month washed away 9 roads in the county, and only one of them has been fixed so far. The rest will be repaired over the coming months. Work in some places could last through November. It's been a headache for people who live and work in that area.
If I want to go anywhere, I have to take those detours because right now it's one way in, one way out.
26 roads statewide are still damaged or washed out because of Chantal. Earlier this week, Governor Josh Stein declared the storm a Type 1 state disaster.
Hawaii's Kilauea volcano is erupting. The eruption started early yesterday morning. Look at this video here, sending 150 to 300 foot high fountains of lava from the north vent of the volcano's crater. This is the volcano's 30th eruption this year. No matter how many times you see this video, it's always just so amazing to see. All right, let's get to weather now. Meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner in the WRAL Severe Weather Center talking about what's ahead for us after all of this rain.
So we still have some rain out there this morning. It's fairly light and patchy. You might run into a few areas where it's fairly steady, but especially around the Triangle and Wake County in particular, it looks like it's starting to taper off, which is great as we head into sort of the busiest time of the morning commute. We stay cool. We'll see lots of cloud cover for today. Highs will remain in the 70s, but once we get into Saturday and Sunday, we start to change up the pattern. More sunshine, more heat, and a better chance for afternoon storms. We'll walk through what that means for your weekend plans coming up. Here's a look at where we're seeing some rain right now, all the way from Edgecombe County back over toward the Triad. It's really starting to ease up a bit, especially say from Raleigh southward. Still a few sprinkles around Siler City and Sanford. And then there's this one band that's stretching through Durham. So if you're headed from Raleigh and you're driving through Durham, you're going to notice the potential for that rain picks up a little bit. But we are starting to see drier air working in. So it looks like, for the most part, we're going to begin to see more of this drying out. Now, we do still have a chance for some isolated showers on and off all day long, and we do keep it at a low risk for flooding, really just to cover the bases because we saw so much rain yesterday. We could see a few isolated spots with some flooding for today. We looked around, and look at this. We found a site in Cary where we had a rain gauge at 8.6 inches, Apex at 6.2. These are some of the highest totals that we found. In North Raleigh, 4.6, Zebulon 4.4, RDU about 3 inches of rain, Carter Finley at about 5.3. So we'll take a sort of a wider look, and you can see western Wake County with that 5 inches, and of course there at Spring Hope at about 7.5 inches. We had some heavier rain down to the south too, 5 inches near Clinton, and then in Goldsboro, or at least northeast of Goldsboro, 4.5 inches. So it was crazy in patches. It wasn't widespread. Here's a look at Futurecast. Futurecast does not show a whole lot of rain for us today, so that's a good thing. We could definitely spend some time starting to dry out. It would be a good thing to see. Friday, same story. We're fairly dry in the morning. Just a very small chance of a few showers that pop up later in the afternoon. We might even see a few peaks of sunshine tomorrow, but I wouldn't expect to see a whole lot of it. 40% chance today, 30 Friday, and then we tend to dry out pretty nicely Saturday and Sunday, but we couldn't completely rule out an isolated shower or thunderstorm. So I did put the yellow light on outdoor plans just to kind of cover the bases there. It's a small chance. Notice the temperature is really start to climb. Summer's not over, even though we've had a cool stretch. We're back to 90s next week.
Oh, we're getting spoiled there, Elizabeth. So listen, you're getting ready to head out the door. Really very little to no delays whatsoever. We just have first responders. This crash likely in the clearing phases on Gorman Street, not far from Tryon Road. But let's take you outside with the help of photographer Charles Bradley to show you exactly what I'm talking about. Charles right now is on New Bern Avenue. You can see the windshield wipers are going, just some light rain coming down. Again, I would really recommend just leaving the house a little sooner than usual, just to be on the safe side. So back here into the WRAL Traffic Center, I'll tell you, in terms of major routes coming into the capital city, very little to no delays whatsoever, just 1 minute on US 1 and I-87 as well. And similarly, we're not seeing any delays heading into the Bull City as well. You're getting ready to head into the car. Tune into the radio, 101.5 HD3.
Back to school hacks. School supply lists are longer than ever, and we'll share some shortcuts to the best deals.
And suing American Airlines more than a week after a flight attendant was sentenced for recording a girl in a plane bathroom. Another family is coming forward what they say happened during their flight. Chappell Roan fans will have to wait at least half a decade for a new album.
And some of the most legendary movie props will soon go up for auction. Ken Smith here now with what's trending, Ken.
And Jeff and Michelle, Chappell Roan fans going, what? Well, yeah, she isn't rushing to release another album. In an interview with Vogue, she said a second project doesn't exist. Roan says it took her 5 years to make the first album, and it will probably take her another 5 to write another one.
Yeah, well, the singer recently released the singles The Giver back in March and then The Subway last week. She's been so vocal about the pressure that so many musicians face in the industry to constantly churn out new content. She's fantastic, so whenever she's ready, we'll accept the new music that she's going to give us.
Can't rush greatness.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And speaking of greatness, some popular movie props going up for the auction block. A UK-based prop store displaying 6 well-known items in London ahead of the September auction that will be held in Los Angeles. Some of the props include Darth Vader's hero lightsaber, Luke, I am your father. Indiana Jones's whip and a clapperboard from the movie Jaws. Of course, Jaws celebrating the 50th anniversary of that release.
So there's 1,000 items there, but that lightsaber, what's the going rate? What do you think? It's somewhere between $1 and $3 million.
Wow.
Million.
Lightsabers ain't cheap these days.
I can find something better to buy with $3 million.
Thanks, Ken.
All right, well, congratulations is in store for the Special Olympics North Carolina 3x3 unified basketball team. They won a silver medal yesterday at the Special Olympics North Carolina Conference in Indianapolis. This was the first time a tournament has been held in this event. The team is made up of athletes from Wake, Durham, Orange, and Lee counties. Great job, everybody. Congratulations.
Good on them.
Yes.
Saving on school supplies.
We are just about 18 days from the start of a new school year. Just ahead, the best places to go for inexpensive back-to-school gear.
And heading out the door to some light patchy rain out there this morning. You're going to notice some wet roads, but the rain today certainly won't be as heavy as yesterday. I'll show you what to expect as you head out.